Hello everyone. So now we're going to continue. We just finished the labor and manufacturing overhead budget. So now we want to budget ending finished goods and also what is our unit cost. We'll use our unit cost to figure out cost of goods sold by how many units were sold times the cost per unit. So we're going to go back to the original recipe. And so how many quantity of containers did we need? We're going to link back to the original data in case they do change any part of the recipe. And then what is it per unit? Again, we're going to link back to the original data. What is the cost for a container, which could change. And then we're going to do the same thing for wax and ounces. So this is the recipe. 4 ounces for each of them. And what is the cost for each of those? Again, by doing either equal or plus to let it know that it's a formula. Going back over here to the budgeted data, finding the ounces, hit enter, and then that populates. Whoops, that's not what we wanted to do there. So let's do it again. Plus, and just delete it if you get it wrong and do it again. 20 cents an ounce, hit enter. Okay, and then direct labor, same thing. What is the recipe? Let's go on back over here. Plus 0.1, and what is the cost per hour? Back over, let's link to the original data, the 15. Now, the manufacturing overhead per unit is from our predetermined overhead rate that we did in the prior video. Oh, I put it in the wrong column. Well, let's come over here. How many, that manufacturing overhead rate is per direct labor hour. So for finished goods, we're going to also be using the same number. Each unit's going to have 0.1, just like each unit of labor is going to be 0.1. The manufacturing overhead rate is per hour. We're not going to put a whole hour in the unit. It's still 0.1 hours per unit, but the rate per direct labor hour is that 28. So now we can get the cost per unit by doing the quantity times the cost for each of these, the two materials plus the labor plus the overhead. And we can add that up. I probably should have showed you this before. Hold on. So here's my menu bar. I'm on the Home tab, and over here to the right is this Sigma thing. And it's that means sum. If I click here, you can look at the pull down menu. Let's see if I can show it here. No, but it's got sum and average and various things. So I'm using it for the sum. And when you click on that, it will. Here I'm clicking on it. It will try to anticipate what you want to add up, and it could get it wrong. So you can change other things. I just click on what you want to add up. But in this particular case, it did guess correctly. All right, so it's just trying to make things easy for you. So that is the cost per unit. Now, for how many units were produced, where can we find that? Over here in the production budget. So we need units produced. Where are we going to get that? All right, plus we're going to go to the production budget, and we're going to produce first quarter, second quarter, third quarter, fourth quarter. I don't have a year over here because the production budget bled into the next year in order to allow us to do the desired ending formula. So this is the 4 quarters added up. I can point to that cell and use it over and over, which is fine. So then the total cost of the units produced, I can get. Let's turn that into dollars there, and then I can sum that up for the year. All right. So how many units do we have in ending finished goods? So we're going to go over here to our production budget and see what is ending units at the end of the year. So that would be the end of the fourth quarter. And what is the cost per unit? We just calculated it. So the cost of ending inventory is the units in ending inventory times the cost. So that's the ending finished goods inventory. That's going to go on our ending balance sheet. All right, let's move over here to selling and administrative. We have a variable portion of the selling administrative, and we have fixed selling and administrative expenses. How do we know from the original data that they gave us? Let's peek at that for a minute. Selling and administrative, of course, is a period cost. So you can see these are summarized for us. The first one, $5 a unit, and then the rest are per quarter. So those are fixed. Advertising expense is a stair step. It starts at 50 for the first quarter and then increases by 50 per quarter. All right, so let's budget that. All right, so we need to know how many units we're selling, because the variable selling administrative is 5 cents per sold unit. So, okay, so it matters how many units we sold. So let's go back to our sales budget. How much did we sell? We could also link it to the original data, because that's also linked to the the beginning data. So either place is okay. And we will copy that over. All right, and what is the variable per candle? So let's go back to the original budget. We're not going to type it in. We're going to put it in 5 cents per unit. We're going to link it. And I'm going to put my F4 in here to lock it down, make it an absolute reference instead of a relative reference, so that, and if you get trash here, that means that you didn't lock this down and it's floating to the right on the data sheet. Okay, so the expense will be units times 5 cents each. Okay, so there's that math. And now the fixed is the same every quarter. So let's link to that. Salaries. And utilities. Looks like I need to rename that to be occupancy, depreciation, and advertising. Now, advertising is going to be a little different, because it's going to be 50, and then this next one is going to be plus the prior quarter plus another 50. So these I can lock down. And copy them over. They'll be the same every quarter. But this one's going to go up by the amount of the original quarter. Okay, so that didn't work because I didn't lock down the B33. So the B33 needs to be locked down. Not in the first one, but in the second one. See how I did that? Okay, so it's going to stay on the 50 and add 50 to it. That looks like that worked. Okay, so total selling and administration will be the variable piece plus the fixed piece. Now, this includes depreciation, which is not a cash payment. Depreciation is the expense for using something up over many periods that had a multi-year life. Long-term assets, like a truck, a building, some equipment, that sort of thing. So you pay for it up front. That's when it comes out of your cash budget. But when you expense it, it comes out of your income statement, but then you don't pay for it again. So it's not a cash expense. It's not a payment that you have to make. It's a valid expense. It's just not a payment. All right, so the cash disbursements for selling and administrative are total selling and administrative less depreciation. That's not a payment. It's an expense. So the income statement is going to reflect our expenses. The cash budget is going to reflect our cash disbursements or payments for selling and administrative. It's similar in some ways to when we were back here. These are the materials we're going to buy. This is production, but the payments are a whole nother calculation. So what we're going to do in the next video is the cash budget, and that's going to pull from all the activity that we've already done. I will see you there.